50s, 60s, and 70s. We studied in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We were dating in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we got married and discovered the world in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And we venture into our 80 to 90 era. So we kind of stabilized in the 2000s, and we got wiser in around 2010 or so. And we were finally through, and well, then we went beyond 2020. It turns out that, we've lived through 8 different decades, 2 different centuries, 2 different millennia. We've gone from the telephone with an operator for long distance calls to video calls to anywhere in the world. We've gone from slides to YouTube, from vinyl records to online music, from handwritten letters to email and WhatsApp, from live matches on the radio to black and white TV, color TV, and then to 3D HD TV. We went into the video store, and now we watch Netflix. We got to know the first computers, punch cards, floppy disk, and now we have gigabytes and megabytes on our smartphones now. We wore shorts throughout our childhood and then long trousers, Oxfords, flares, shell suits, and blue jeans. We dodged infantile paralysis, meningitis, polio, tuberculosis, swine flu, and now the COVID-19. We rode skates, tricycles, bicycles, mopeds, petrol or diesel type cars, and now we drive hybrids or electric. Yeah, we've been through a lot, but what a great life we actually had. I mean, look, this could describe us as maybe something called exennials now, okay? People who were born in that world, like, the 50s. We had analog childhood and digital adulthood is what we really had, analog to digital. We've kind of seen it all. Our generation has literally lived through and witnessed more than any other in every dimension of life. In our generation, that has literally adopted to change. We had to adopt the change. A big round of applause, my friends, to all the members of our very special generation, which will be unique. A precious and true message that I received from a friend. Time doesn't stop, and I'm going to tell you about somebody. Life is a task that we brought ourselves to do at home. So when you look, it's already, say, 6 in the afternoon, your time, perhaps. When you look, it's already Friday. When you look back, the month is over. When one looks, the year is over. When one looks, the 50s, 60s, and 70s have passed. And when you look, we no longer know where our friends are. When you look, we lost the love of our lives, and now some people think it's too late to go back. So, don't stop doing something that you like, due to lack of time, or don't stop having someone by your side. I mean, your children will soon not be yours, well, sooner than others, and you will have to do something with that remaining time. So, if you moved out, went to the country, you moved on in your life, kids grew up, whatever they did, stab you in the back, say goodbye, flew to nest, The only thing that we're going to miss, really, will be the space that, can only really be enjoyed with the usual friends or relationships that you have. We're lucky, really lucky enough to have them. The day is today. We are no longer at an age to postpone anything. And isn't that really the truth? When you really think about that, it is. We're living for today. I was talking to a friend of mine in New York, close friend of mine, and unfortunately for him, he has cancer and throat. It's an adenoma, carcinogenic adenoma. And more likely it is kind of passed through his system and other organs and stuff like that. So basically, his train of thought is when you get to that point of time, you get to the point of acceptance. Acceptance. There's always that point of time where you're pissed off, what's happening to me, or, but he came from a very dysfunctional family. And he'd always say to me, oh, you had this, you did that, you did this, you experienced life, you have a woman, you blah, blah, blah. I say, I know, you're right. I understand that. He had a very unusual circumstance growing up in his time. And he God never even had sex. I mean, really, he had an extraordinarily lonely life. Lonely, 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 lonely. It was something I was reading about. What does exhibit you have a lonely life? Some people, I don't think I go on Discord. First of all, no, I'm not going to Thailand. Nice try, but no cigar. I know what's going on Discord. And where was I? Okay. When you're thinking that somebody has a lonely life, you have to think what makes you having a lonely life and what qualifies that statement. And I got to sneeze. Allergy time. When is it not, really? What determines if you're lonely? That's too long of a list, really. You're lonely if you'll know you're lonely if you're lonely. That's like really not having anyone in your life at all. That's lonely. I'm not going to put anybody down because they're lonely. I just think they didn't try enough, or they just maybe gave up. No, I'm not lonely. And the great thing is, I had this talk actually 2 days ago with my girlfriend, as far as we're going to go about personal stuff. So we talked about things like this, and I said, I get older, and for some reason I become indolent or something. I said, I don't want to put that burden on you. I just don't want that to happen. She said, that's not a problem. The main thing is that you're still there and alive. That's all that matters to me, that you're still in my life. I said, that was really a touching statement, and that's kind of what we want. So you're not lonely. You're not lonely if you have somebody. Let's just dispel that thought. No, I don't know. I'm not even reading these messages. I'm not really even reading these messages, really. What do we got here? Okay. Anyway. I was honestly going to read you this article about what defines loneliness as far as psychology. What are they barking at? My dogs are going through a very unusual, I'll get personal with them, heat cycles. Oh my God. This year is the worst. I won't even go into that. They are just very emotional, especially one of them. Oh my God. You almost wish you could sedate them, but I wouldn't do that. The cycle would be over. We never spayed them, though. That's the problem. Should have done that a long time ago, They suffer, though. They want the boys. Where the boys are, where the boys are. They're very interested. Very interested. And we made the mistake of not spaying. That's my bad on that. I don't know if it's too late to actually do that. Anyway, hello everybody. Yeah, there's a bunch of people in the chat here. Anyway, yeah, I think people under the impression I'm going to Thailand or something. Really, I didn't know that. I never said that. I never said I was going to Thailand. I was going to make a trip sometime, but I never said I was going to Thailand. In fact, Not really even a place I'm interested in going. From all I've seen about it and read about it, it's not something for me. I don't know, do you, dude? Then go for it, you know? You gotta love YouTube, right? Or not. I think I'm just gotta get rid of a lot of shit on here because if they're talking nonsense, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, uploads, and I totally forgot. I wind up doing a live stream here. Actually, what's been going on is, well, we had the second blackout here this morning, only for a couple of hours. But some reason we couldn't restore the internet. You know, I got the SpaceX stuff, you know. Damn, how long does it take to find a goddamn signal? Well, anyway, it turned out it was nothing to do with our equipment. It really had to do with, I don't know, headquarters, something to do, I don't know. I'm not Mr. Technical, but I can tell you that, you know, I thought that maybe the surge of the electricity coming back on fucked over our router, but, which reminds me, I'm going to have to get some kind of a surge protector. I got it for the TV, but I just don't have it hooked up to my expensive router. I don't have it hooked up on there. I got to do that sometime. Because it's not easy around the corner to get a new box. That would take forever. So, I'm happy to say, finally got the internet on. And, in fact, I got to check my generator because it went off on its own. It still had gasoline in there this morning. So I got to test it out at some point today and see if that's still actually good. It's an older generator, but it works. And I'm really so happy that I decided a while back to get a generator because it's helped us to, you know, if you live in the Philippines, you know anything about the Philippines, you're going to know we get blackouts just all the time out here. Yeah. What is my point of life? I don't know. What is my point of life? Well, you live, then you die. How's that for an answer? And what you do in between is entirely up to you. How much you want to love, how much you want to hate. I guess that's probably the best answer I could give you. You make the best of what you have, that's all. What else can you do, really? Make the best of what you have. Goes to say. My God, we're approaching 10,000 subscribers on here. Wow. Pretty cool. I wish I had 10,000 viewers. No, I can't say that. I'm not into this bot shit. Bye. That's why I want to shy away from... that's why I want to shy away from, you know, the live streams. Because I'm constantly just hiding people from my channel all the time. I don't know where they come from, but they see that you have a live stream on. And they just say, well, let me go see what this is all about. And they'll ask ridiculous questions. Some of them are kind of like bots or something, you know. Houston, Texas. Okay, welcome aboard, Mr. King. Mr. King. I'm not always on camera here, so today's kind of a rarity. I'm actually on camera this morning. Nothing to hide, folks. Go back to your homes. Nothing to hide, folks. You know, one of those things. Nothing to hide. Man, I've seen some stuff on Karens in the United States. Unbelievable. Cops are not always wrong, okay? You know, we fault the cops for a lot of stuff, and there's probably a lot of reasons to do that. But I gotta tell you, some of the stuff I've seen, what they have to deal with, they're not paying cops enough. Seriously, maybe if they did, they wouldn't be on the take, some of them in America, because they, you know, to make it a good paycheck and stuff. But you know, but I guess the extra benefits are better, you know, off the books or whatever, you know. But what they have to deal with in America, the Karens, we got some of the craziest women in America. The craziest women. Whew. And if anybody ever asked that question, you know, In fact, my friend just did this morning. You know, why don't you come back to the United States? I said, for what? What do I have in the United States? What would I want in the United States? I couldn't afford to live in the United States on a long-term level. I was watching, in fact, Ned from My Philippines, what is it, Dreams? He hasn't been on very much. He made a couple of shows. Apparently, he's made a trip to Florida. I don't think he had his wife with him. And he was going into a Walmart, and it was really interesting watching this stuff, you know? And the prices, and he said plants were crazy. But, you know, Walmart, I mean, let's face it, cheap-ass store in a sense. It wasn't a classy place. You got some of the biggest lowlife in the world that comes into Walmart, but you gotta admit, Walmart had a little bit of this, had a little bit of that, had pretty good fair prices on some of their products, but Ned's trip back to the United States, boy, it proved how things changed. Sure, he was able to get any kind of yogurt he wanted, every kind of pickle in the world was offered there. You know, it had all kinds of stuff. TVs were actually, what did he say? What was overpriced that he was surprised? Televisions were definitely cheaper in America than it is in the Philippines. So it's kind of a combo thing where you will look around at prices on certain items in the United States and say, yeah, that's extremely high compared to the Philippines. And you look at the Philippines, you'll say, if you could find the same products, they're higher than the United States. Well, like I said, anything that you have to import, okay. Anything. But you adjust to where you are. But yeah, I would like, you know, he's sending all these, buying boxes over, which that would be a great thing to do. When I was in the United States the last time, I did send several boxes back. But the problem is they don't, for the money, they don't give you a big enough box. They don't give you. And you really can't put a lot in there. So you're spending about, I don't know, about $100. You know, they actually make you buy $15 for the actual cardboard box. Not kidding you. Then add to that. It becomes about $115, somewhere around. Yeah, that's what you're spending to send a box from the United States to the Philippines. You know, that's what I paid. Yeah. So, you just can't fit enough, and that's the problem. But then, unfortunately, it takes 3 months. 3 months, for example, I was in Hawaii. It takes 3 months, certainly from Hawaii, to get to the Philippines. I don't think there's any quicker way of doing it. And there's so many things that you want to include, but you just can't. You just can't. Okay. You pay tax on them. For example, when I buy in England for 500, sorry, swallowing went down. Yeah. Well, if you're going to import anything anywhere, it's going to cost you more money for that. That's for sure. Yeah. But man, I had to light. I mean, yes, Walmart, Ross, places like that. I would go to that to buy all of my over-the-counter stuff. You know, you can't even get Pepto-Bismol out here. And if you send away for it on Lazada, God, what a fortune it costs you for a lousy bottle of Pepto-Bismol. So I made the mistake a couple of times that I was sending a whole bunch of framed photographs. That was a big mistake. I didn't pack it right, so all the glass busted on most of them. And some of it actually damaged some of the pictures too, so that was my bad on that one. Actually damaged the pictures. Got to know how to pack it right. take the time to pack it, or else you're just wasting your money if you get stuff that's damaged. But I got how many bottles of Tums, which I don't generally use that much, because you got to figure out if you got an overproduction of acid or you got an underproduction of acid, because a lot of people don't know, and they automatically assume that, I got acid reflux or something, and you may, you may not. You may have actually less hydrochloric acid in your stomach, and all the while you're thinking that, I got excess rather than less. You could only do some testing to figure that one out. I never really did. Doctors will just tell you, well, you got a hiatal hernia right here. I've always had this hiatal hernia. It's not bad, don't want them, but that can create GERD and stuff like that. And I don't get GERD all the time and all that. I'm very fortunate. It's very rare. Thank goodness for small miracles. If there was such thing. But it's something you could live with, But it's not a pleasant experience. I remember times I woke up overnight choking on my own fucking vomit or something, and that bile, whatever that is, that comes up from your stomach. It's holy shit. Woo! Man, you're choking on this shit. That's happened a few times, I can remember. It actually has happened a long time ago. But it's not very pleasant if that ever happened to you. You'll just wake up in the middle of the night. You have no choice about it. You're up. Bam, Anyway, I was just reading a whole bunch of shit while my internet was on. I haven't even done my exercise yet this morning. It's going to be one of those late mornings. I already ate, but then, I had the power outage a little bit, and that took me off my time schedule. So that's when it becomes a chore for me, because I like doing things planned at a certain time. And I don't normally miss my exercise. I'm not going to miss it today. I'm going to get around to doing that. Do you have a what? Why would you ask that? Post-traumatic syndrome? You mean PTSD? Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know. Hello. Okay. Anyway, what's going down in the community? Not really a lot, I'm happy to say. Not really too much, except I heard from a little bird that everybody thinks I'm going to Thailand. I didn't know that, but thanks for reminding me. How old am I? I'm as old as I look, I guess. Are you going to watch Batman Cape Crusader animated series? I don't think so. I'm as old as I look, I guess, I am what I am what I am. What a jelly. What? If I can't understand you and you're putting cryptic sentences on there, then you're pretty much bye-bye. Yeah, I'm cute. Yeah, okay. Like truffle, but has that thumbs up, or what is that? I don't know what that is. Okay, so where are we today? This was supposed to have been a recorded show, but I went and by habit, I went and hit live. When did you buy? Well, I've never been in prison, so that question would not apply to me. Thank you very much for asking. Am I gay? I don't think so. I never grew up gay, and I like women, so no, I'm not gay. And I'm not a homosexual either. Well, gay, no. And we got some live ones this morning here. They're just coming out from the woodwork like cockroaches when the lights go out. I expect that on it. That's why I told you I want to just do uploads on here. I have to deal with this all the time. But when you make a decision to go live, well, don't mind the hate comments. I don't really. I just get rid of them. You see me freaking out? No. Sigma? Sigma. Huh? Sigma what? Just like any other day, I'm in the Philippines, Jack. You know, I don't have any plans for 4th of July. We don't celebrate American Independence Day out here. They have their own Independence Day and all that crap out here. And, you know, they have a lot of occasions where they use fireworks and stuff like that. It doesn't really take an occasion for them to do that. Have you been holding us for no 4th of July? I'm living here by choice. That's what I'm doing in the Philippines. I've got a long-term Filipino here. You're Jake Rent, or hi Jake Rent, okay. I'm not sure how many people we actually have on here. Well, those that are putting out any messages anyway. How is it for me? It does, you know. I'm dealing with living out here really well. But it still doesn't change the fact that there are 48 million kangaroos in Australia and 3 million people in Uruguay. So of all the languages, Uruguay, every person would have to, I have no idea what you're getting at with that. Then when it gets ridiculous, like how many kangaroos can you fight? Well, okay, you know what we have to do for that. I couldn't fight one kangaroo, neither could you. They're actually, they're quite talented with both their legs and their arms. I don't think the average human could beat up a kangaroo. I don't think that's even possible. Right, mates? Don't even think that's possible. No roosters crying in the background, just my dogs now. And I'm sure where I'm at. I don't like Chicago, no. Do you like... I have no idea what you're talking about. Do I like this or like that? Okay, anyway. Oh, shit. I have to deal with these blackouts again. We get them all the time out here. I really thought my box went out on my internet. And that was so I couldn't get TV for the internet, and I couldn't get my internet here for my phone. But I'm really going to have to get a surge protector, because if you got your TV or your box plugged in and the lights go off, you should unplug it, because when it goes back on, it's going to create a surge, and that could damage stuff. I've had it happen to me. It says, we are on top of the food chain. We can kill gators. Why not kangaroos? Well, that's up to you. Why would you kill a kangaroo? I don't know why they say in English or Spanish all the time. Am I not speaking English? Some qualify of the life you choose. It's not a complete statement there, but okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm not going into anything heavy duty this morning, actually. I was actually going to do an upload. I got 12 thumbs up, which is pretty good for my show anyway, 29 watching. Thank you very much. We're getting pretty close to our 10,000 subscriber. Yeah. Oh, this is just idle chat. That's what we do on my show. Not a bunch of countries. No, I haven't. I'm not really world traveled. I've been in a lot of airports of certain countries, but never got to walk around, but it still qualifies I was in that country. Canada for sure, and there's other countries, that I've actually been in, but did not really, like I'm walking around the streets or anything like that. But I've been in numerous countries, in Taiwan, I've been to Japan, places like that, and yeah. 500,000 PY6, I don't know. No shout outs, my friend. No shout outs on my channel here. It doesn't make any sense. Shout out to who? You think your relative is watching my show? You need a shout out for that? The worst food I tried, you mean out here? Ew. I don't know, man. This is too many. It's not really known for its food out here. Oh, that's for damn sure. I have to take you with me for a little bit here. No, there's not really that many foods that I'm so big and proud of eating out here. And that's being very honest with you. The Philippines is not known for its cuisine, let's just put it that way. A lot of people, maybe if you're at a really low income, you'll learn to eat like a Filipina. And I'm not a fish eater, for one. That makes it very difficult for anybody living out here, because if you don't eat fish, well, that's kind of what they eat in rice and all that. It becomes very difficult. You have to get imported food, so I go into the big cities. It takes a lot of trouble to get there, and I'll buy a lot of the import stuff, Western culture type of foods, and stock up on that for a while until it's time to go back and do it all over again. That's what we do. But we could take local ingredients. Hello. We could take something very interesting out of it, that's for sure. And we've done exactly that. I mean, that's, that is a dumb statement. Okay. No, I don't like sushi. Am I stuck in the Philippines? No, I'm not stuck anywhere, actually. Thank you. I'm as old as I feel. How old do you feel? Which one? What do you want? You want in, you want out, you want in, you want out. How about you go back in? My goodness. Told you, I don't know what the hell they want these days. They're in heat. Boy, are they in heat. My goodness. Probably the worst they've had so far. And I'm not kidding you. Very emotional, hyper. They want in, they want out, they want in, they want out. I tell you how I let them in, go out in the yard, play, go to the bathroom. But they're looking for the boys. They're looking for the boys. You could retire, David Walker. Why don't you? What could you do with 300,000 in the Philippines? You mean in the bank? Yeah, it is, Hector. It is. What would I do with 300,000? I don't know. I haven't done any. I mean, come up with a figure. I certainly have that amount, but I don't do anything with it. To be honest, I don't do anything. It's there for cushion, emergency, whatever. But yeah, there's a lot you can do. Oh, absolutely. You can buy a really nice car. You can make some pretty damn good trips and all that. You can do all that stuff with 300,000. Oh yeah, here you can buy it cheap. Are you kidding? Oh yeah. It is uncomfortable because we get a lot of humidity. As I said, I'm a person, I could take the heat, but it's the humidity that really is a problem here in the Philippines. We got 25 watching and 16 thumbs up. That's pretty good. Well, you can't really A foreigner can't really own a business out here. You can't really, unless it's incorporated with a Filipino. So Americans really can't, sounds terrible, but you can't really have your own business out here. Oklahoma is bad. Is that where you're from? I have actually, but this is talking, we're talking decades ago. I've been to Oklahoma. I'll tell you what, going through Texas from one end to the other, boy, that was a chore. Texas is, you're never out of Texas. Even if you're in an airplane going above Texas, for whatever reason, you're never out of Texas. Texas is such a huge place. Same as, what is it? Was it Lake Michigan, the bigger one? Boy, if you ever flew over Lake Michigan, and you're going like, plane is going like what, 5? It's huge. It's like an ocean. Lake Michigan is like a huge ocean. That's what it is. They got freighters in there too. I mean, geez. How's Watt work out? As you can see, we don't have any particular subject matter, but I want to mention if you were born in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, you have experienced quite a lot. Quite a lot. You living in two different centuries, according to when you were born. And if you listen to the beginning of my show, I kind of got into that a little bit. So if you have lived, you were born or lived through the 40s, 50s, 60s, and you've seen a lot. You experienced a lot. You've seen when there was, just black and white TV. If you were born in the 50s, you had black and white TV at some point, but color didn't come until later. Operator-assisted phones at one point. No such thing as cell phones. They would have thought it would be impossible. Totally impossible to do what we're doing right now. No, you're not allowed to own a firearm here in the Philippines. It's not allowable. You can't even carry a knife out here. However, if you're in a relationship with a Filipina, married or otherwise, a Filipina, she could certainly not carry, but she could own a gun. Absolutely. You can buy a gun, own a gun, but no, as a foreigner, oh, hell no. Hell no. You're not allowed to own weapons. You get caught with that, you'll definitely go to jail. There's no question about that. They got a lot of pretty hard-ass laws out here. Oh, that doggy smells sometimes in the hallway here. They're due for their baths. I gotta get around to doing that sometime, maybe today. One smell I don't like is wet dog hair. That's gotta be one of the worst. Okay, where were we here? Charlie Brown. I wouldn't be here unless I was marrying a Filipina. Well, I'm here because of a Filipina. I'm not married, but I'm here because of a Filipina. And also, there's other factors. I needed a change in my life. And, America's kind of gone down the tube in more ways than one. People are very divided. Horribly divided, in fact. The people are very friendly out here in the Philippines. That's why people come here, They're very friendly people. Don't piss them off, though, but stay on their good side. But, they're the friendliest people you could ever meet. That's what I like about it. You don't have a lot of Karens here like you do in America. You know what a Karen is, right? We'll be there before, the bread. Ordering some bread. Just Artisan's Oven Magic. We ordered some fresh bread loaves here. And I don't try to eat a lot of bread. She likes it with her coffee. Most Filipinos like to have bread with their coffee out here. Except it didn't come early in the morning, but I ordered 3 loaves. I don't mind having a little bread with butter, a little olive oil on it. I mean, I like that. A lot of carbs and shit, but what the hell? Throw caution to the wind sometime. I don't eat 100% perfect, but I have a good diet, very good diet. The foods that I consume by my choice. But yeah, if the bread is made right, it's really hard to find a bakery that makes real good, American style bread, I mean, out of the oven, they got that smell. I used to live at one point next to a bakery when I lived in New York growing up, and I'd smell that stuff. Boy, bread was so great. And you have that little bit of butter, whatever. The Italians, they put a little olive oil on it. You could put other seasonings. You could put olive oil, put sesame seeds on it. You could put garlic on it. Garlic bread. I love garlic bread. Yeah. Not a lot of adobo. United States is still the best. Well, I would argue that, Hector, but so would a lot of other people that moved out. It's such a divisive country, politically, and all the unrest and the Karens. Everybody's obese now, and the drugs have taken over America. Just watch that stuff. It's all over Facebook and the feeds. They're always showing these towns, and they just love, for some reason, to kind of concentrate on Kensington, which is in Philadelphia. And it's not just there; it's everywhere. You got people hung over on. They're all fucked up on fentanyl, which is the new drug now. For a number of years now, fentanyl, which they usually give people, cancer patients and stuff like that, but they found a recreational use for that. More freedoms? I'd even argue that one too, Hector. I would argue that one. You think you have more freedoms. Your freedoms are being taken away all the time. I tend to question whether America has more, whether the Philippines might have more freedoms than America. I'm doubting that. But America, as far as freedoms? Oh man, you kidding? You can't look at somebody funny with your eyes, if they happen to be gay or something, or you want to get a lawsuit against you or something. I mean, that's not bad, It's changed a lot since I grew up. I lived in New York till I was about 28. I left and then lived in Washington State for about 25 years, give or take. Then in Hawaii for 14, 15 years, give or take. And in the Philippines for about, I don't know, 8.5 years. It doesn't change. Moscow, why would you want to move to Moscow? I didn't think we welcome there after a while when shit really hits the fan with America. I don't think you're going to be very popular in Moscow. Something just tells me that might be the case. Upstate New York is pretty cool. These days, I don't know. It's not what it used to be. I know people living in the Catskills and, Poughkeepsie, all these places around there, I suppose some of these towns have kept their, shall I say, integrity. But upstate New York, if you have to move anywhere in New York, it would be upstate. That's for damn sure. You can't live in the cities there anymore. It's too expensive for everyone. Besides that, I mean, it's just too much shit going on in New York. Look, I'm very familiar with New York City because I spent a lot of years. I was going to college, blah, blah, blah. I went down there all the time anyway. I didn't live in New York City, though, but I lived on suburbs outside of, Westchester County, in fact. It's a filthy piss hole is what it is, really. A lot of rats, roaches. Terribly expensive to live there. It's definitely would be unaffordable to me. But I don't go backwards, I go forward. So I don't ever go back to where I once was, I go forward. Yeah, upstate New York was always pretty cool. I didn't mind that. 21 thumbs up, 24 watching. Thank you guys, appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We're trying to at least reach our 10,000 mark here. I used to work in Fishkill. Oh yeah, Poughkeepsie. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. You know, I used to really like. If I was in New York City, I used to like to take the Dayline cruise on that ferry. And we go up the Hudson, and we go past Bear Mountain and all those areas up there. Pretty cool. It was a nice ride on the Hudson. Hot summer day, get a breeze from the Hudson. It's nice just to get away and get out up in that direction, away from the city. So I used to take the day line, I took the circle line, all that shit. Mostly the day line. It was just really nice to go up toward, what was it called? Bear Mountain? Yeah. I enjoyed taking the train to New York City. I used to take the train all the time. I had two choices of trains. Oh, hey, the bread will come, I think, 9 something or something like that. Oh, by the way, yeah. Yeah, I would take the subway, rickety rackety subway with all the graffiti on it. Or you want to pay more, you take the commuter train, and that'll get you into the city with less stops and fast and clean and get you right to Grand Central Station. I enjoyed taking that. It was comfortable. I think even air conditioned too, if I remember. The subway trains, well, that was pretty daring. Considering there were times I took subway trains 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, which generally I wouldn't recommend unless you look the look. In those days, I was smart. I looked the look. I wasn't dressed up in a suit or wearing a bunch of jewelry or any shit like that would attract any attention. No, that's one thing you didn't do. I used to take it to Coney Island, and I'd have all my photography equipment with me, which was take it a chance. And I used to go there to photograph a local polar bear club. And this in dead of winter, I mean, I'd go out there, you freeze your ass off. But luckily, I got to know them really well, and they had this little, you know, I guess that the lifeguards would use was kind of a first aid center. It was indoors. They had a heater, had lockers, and things like that. So you could go in there to kind of chill out, have a cocoa or coffee or something. So I used to retreat inside with those people. I was kind of like an honorary member. I never jumped in the ocean, though. I would never do that. You had to move because of divorce. Good old divorce. Florida. Well, that's another place I wouldn't live, though. It gets just as humid there in Florida. I've only been to Florida one time only. And I was over at the Miami area and the Key Biscayne area. That's where I went. Although I've been through Florida on a bus type thing where I've gone through all these little towns, but I went to visit somebody that lived in Key Biscayne. Seemed nice enough, but no mountains. It was really hot, as it is here in the Philippines, but it was also humid too. I never really got a chance to really explore the beaches. I went to near the Everglades. I've seen some of that. In Key Biscayne area, there's a lot of little water outlets around there. I actually seen, you know, alligators in the water with their heads. And this girl would point out, "There's an alligator." I said, "Oh shit, really?" That's the first time I've seen an alligator in the wild. And of course, there was pelicans flying around too. That was interesting. Yeah, I guess you have to have a pool in Florida. I mean, it wasn't my favorite place to visit. The geography just wasn't, for me. I like a place that also has mountains and ocean, both. Have those choices. But Florida was just too flat land for me, and um, yeah, they had some really attractive little coves out there that were nice in the general. I guess it was Key Biscayne. Little coves that were nice, the color of the water, and it would seem really nice. But overall, I just didn't find Florida to be that interesting. Cape Horn, it doesn't make a difference if a shout out Who the hell do you know that's going to be on my channel for you to shout out? That doesn't make any sense. What is the purpose of that? You know, that's because you got to go and I'm going to get rid of you. Because it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Australia has the best beaches. Well, I haven't been to Australia, but I've seen enough on Australia, and from what I can see, they have some nice beaches there. The Great Barrier Reef would be an interesting place to visit, actually. Yeah, constant risk of hurricane. Yeah, well, we got that out here too. We definitely do. There's no doubt about that. There'll be everything from earthquakes, landslides, you know, tornadoes, hurricanes, very well known, droughts, flooding. Well, you know, you realize that Florida is going to be underwater someday, and maybe sooner than you think. So is Manhattan. So, yeah, you're going to lose real estate in Florida if you're on the coast. And there's a lot of towns. They have these little islets that the rich live on, you know. There's like these tiny little islands, you know, that's enough that they have, you know, a certain amount of houses on them, surrounded by water. They'll all be underwater. Wasted real estate. Yeah, they're called typhoons here. I don't know what the difference is, really. 22 thumbs up and 20 watching. That's some good figures here. Now, I'm pretty settled in where I'm at. This is the last leg of my journey, that's for sure. I would certainly think so. Marvelous Mark, the King of the Dark, is back. Maybe a hurricane will send the three amigos of Del Fuego, Nico and Popeye, to join Fazio. Well, we could only hope, right? We could only hope. But anyway, we're not talking about trolls on my channel here. I told you I was getting away from that shit. And it seems like I'm being pretty successful here, actually, lately. Going in the direction that I decided to go to. Feels good. No, never been there. M's song is out now. Who is M? I have no clue, nor do I care. I was considering once living in Ecuador, well before I ever had any interest in the Philippines, believe it or not. What is it called? Cuenca? Cuenca or Z-A? Cuenca, Ecuador? Am I pronouncing it right? That was the town I was looking into. It's kind of a cool elevation, but, you know, my Spanish is really bad. And don't expect that anybody there with good English. At least the Philippines have a concept of the language here, you know. Kind of a second language. Cuenca, I think it was Cuenca, Suenca. Yeah, that's it, yeah. Uh-huh. I'm not getting into songs. No, I'm not familiar with the song. There's all kinds of love songs and love ballads. This is one of those free-for-all shows today, actually. Don't have a whole lot to talk about today that I want to talk about, but just one of those free-for-all shows. Yeah, I think it's the elevation. I think it's nice and cooler there. They walk around, what is it like in the 60s, 60 degrees. Well, the weirdos are coming in again, I guess. I don't know what I expect. That's why I told you I'd rather do the uploads. This might be my last live, I think. Maybe the uploads, like I talked about. I don't mind conversing with people, but sometimes it just gets out of hand a little bit here. The weather in the country was beautiful. Oh, over in okay. We were talking about Cuenca. I can never pronounce that. I should know it. I used to actually talk to a girl who lived there, actually. Then I kind of looked it up. It seemed interesting, but it just seemed too remote. And the areas, I don't know. If you weren't living in the capital, um, you'd have to really, you'd have to really learn to get a grasp of Spanish to live there, though. Yeah, I've seen pictures. It is beautiful. Quito, the capital, is the best. Is that what it is? Quito? Quito? Well, as I said, I've never been there. I'm not exactly world traveled. But that was a remote consideration at one time. Very remote. Even even Brazil, that wouldn't work though. You're bilingual. En el rancho hay muchos animales. No, I really don't have a ranch here, but I know very little Spanish. I know more Spanish than I know anything in the Filipino language. I know certain things in the language out here, but not enough, apparently. It would be good to learn a lot more if I really applied myself. You've got to use it in everyday situations. That's how you learn. And the few things I did learn, I would apply it in a situation. You know, and that's if you keep on practicing that, then you'll get the hang of it a lot better. Be surprised how many foreigners could speak the local language out here. They've done it very well. Maybe they've been married to a Filipino for a long time. But generally, if you're younger, you could pick up on it better than somebody who's older. Oh, you were born in the USA and your family's Ecuadorian. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm kind of living as rural as I can. You think I'm on an island. I mean, I don't think I need to live in Ecuador or something. At least they have the grasp of English out here. I don't have to go through the trouble of trying to learn a whole other language over again. I mean, I'm happy with the few words or sentences I know out here and the fact that they have the ability to speak English. Yeah, it did not, well, it's not terribly difficult if you practice. There's some still Hispanic words that are still being used. Because don't forget, Filipinos come from two directions, really. Either they got a strong Hispanic background or they have a strong Chinese background. It comes from one of the both. They have a weird accent here. Oh, I sometimes have difficult with my girlfriend understanding some of the things she says. I have to have her repeat something. Well, partially my hearing ain't the best in one of my ears. That doesn't help. But yeah, strong accents. Sometimes you will have to ask them to repeat what they said because she's not fluent speaking. She speaks English, of course, but she's not like what you call fluent. She don't know all the slang words and all this different shit. And Americans have different terminologies and different ways of expressing themselves. But it works. It works for me. Well, I wasn't planning on being here too long. We had our lights out this morning, 2 days in a row, twice. In fact, I got to check the generator because it went off on its own. I don't know why. Because I went to look at the gas this morning and there was still some gas in there and I filled it to the top. Excuse me. But I may want to run it again just to test it out. It's an older generator. It's 3,500 watts, which is very adequate for all my needs here in this house. That'll run my air conditioner, microwave, my refrigerator, my chest freezer, the TV, and lights, all that stuff, fans. It's it's uh, it's all I really need is 3,500 watts. Filipinos are sweet women, way better than Americans. Oh, absolutely. I could never be with an American woman again. They're all Karens now. I mean, they just all bitching and whining and, you know, fighting with a Karen is bad enough, but go fight with a black Karen. Oh, God, you're not going to win that fight. Sorry, been there, done that. No, no racism involved here on the comment, by the way. I'm just telling you a fact. If you think white Karens are bad, go deal with a African American Karen. You'll see what excuse me, or a Hawaiian Karen. We had some Karens in Hawaii too. You're never going to want to argue with well, let's just say a local Hawaiian woman that was born there. She don't have to have a drop of Hawaiian in her. If you were born in Hawaii, you live on a big island, the attitude they have, man, I mean, they'll go after you. They're just fucking crazy. Oh yeah. I remember one day it was at Walmart, in fact, parking lot, and they were driving in their car. They were going to go into Walmart, and what happened? No, no, no. Somebody was driving their car, and this lady and her kids or something, whatever, was walking to get into Walmart. You know, it's the roadway right there, you know, in the Walmart parking lot. And they weren't really slowing down, whatever. But boy, did this chick give hell to that woman in the car. Oh, I mean, I would too, to a point. That, hey, you know, watch where you're driving. You could have hit me and the kids, you know, that kind of thing. I would too react, but not the way she did. And she followed them all the way in the store and just hassled them the whole time they were in Walmart. You know, big mouth and without letting up. Without letting up at all. I wish I could find a Filipina. Well, you could. I don't know. Insane in the membrane. They're all insane and they're obese or both. Oh, she's outside. The bread. Do you want to grab some money?
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on. I gotta respond to this. I'm outside. The bread. Okay, very good. Now we ordered some homemade bread. Shh. Come on now. Miss Protective, my dogs here, you know. They want to know everything that's going on. Who's near the house, who's coming in the house. All right. What link? What link is that? Oh. Anyway, I'm not going to stay on here too much longer here. I'm just killing a little bit of time before I have to get the energy to go work out a little bit. Yes, I do have these days, but you see, I try to do it the earlier part of the morning. It's not like a really terribly hot day out. It's kind of a cloud cover, which is kind of cool. But if I go beyond a certain time, I get pretty damn lazy. I get pretty lazy. And I try not to do that. Because I've been doing very good. I just go on a treadmill and go on an exercise bike. There's the bread. Wow. That's 3 loaves there?
Yeah.
2 big bags. How big are the damn loaves? Wow. Yeah. Light's not on here. She's put on a table here. And these bags. There's about 3 loaves of bread right there. See, we got these blackout curtains now, which work really well. Gotta check it out. Yeah, I might have a piece of bread with butter or something. I don't have regular butter. It's like an olive oil butter. I may do that. I'd have to burn off the calories though. But if it's hot off the oven, man, I'm all for it, man. Hot out of the oven. That's what I like. I don't know about you. Let's check this puppy out.
You know, the delivery that one guy, I surprised. I thought it's a Filipino.
He wasn't a Filipino guy? He was a white guy?
Yeah, Prince guy.
French guy? Oh, French baker or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the guy who used to run that place near MJ School. Remember that?
No,
It's not him?
it's not him.
I'll have to show you these loaves. Okay. Go in the dining room here. Okay, let's see what we got here.
I said,
Remember, the loaf you saved may be your
I
own.
said, wow, it's a big.
Wow. Look at that puppy, guys. Look at that.
And then he said, now you find already. He said,
Oh my goodness. That looks pretty good. Let me smell this puppy. Man, it smells good. It's still hot.
yeah. I said, just
Yeah, we want to
first-
preserve those two others. See, I don't know. See, if you too much humidity in the house, if you put it in the refrigerator, bread tends to get hard, but there's got to be a better way of storing some of the bread. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have a little bread piece here with some butter on it. I used a Nutaflex made with olive oil. It's dairy free and all this other shit. Yeah, bring a knife and don't kill me with it though. Looky here, looky here, looky here, looky here. Oh yeah, cut a slice of that baby, huh?
We don't have the bread.
The bread here sucks too, believe me. We'll taste this one. They have these so-called bakeries, and all they sell is like bread products. They like that sweet bread. I'm not into that sweet shit. Even their tomato sauce out here, they like to make spaghetti, and they use this sweet sauce out here.
Spaghetti sauce.
Spaghetti sauce is a really... Ooh, that piece looks highly caloric. What the fuck?
We have the
Let me smell
bread,
this puppy. Let me see.
bread cutter.
Oh boy, let's see. Does it smell a little bit of sourdough-ish though? I hope it ain't the sourdough. No. Very moist inside because it's fresh.
Shows of rice.
It's fresh.
No, it's not so good.
Well, let's see. Oh, I gotta get something to spread this on. Okay. Wow. Wow. Fresh bread. There's nothing like fresh bread. No complaints from the peanut factory here, let me tell you. Love fresh bread. I think everybody does, really. Ooh, look at that, look at that, look at that. The bread made in Ecuador and the food are the best I've ever tasted. What I'm gonna do is spread this puppy on here. Oh boy.
It's not good.
I don't know if I'm gonna put any seasonings on this at all. I'm not sure. I have the sesame seed stuff, which works right in front of me actually, sesame seeds. I'm gonna actually, what I'm gonna do, oh boy, come on, spread it out, spread out, spread out. I've got this sesame seeds here, and I'm gonna actually put some sesame seeds on this. That should be tasteful. But I should have tasted the bread first without the sesame, just to see what it tastes like. So we're gonna let me taste a piece of this. I'll tell you, it's very chewy, I can tell you that. Very chewy. That's good. What the Filipinos like to do is have to dunk the bread in their coffee. Sometimes that's their breakfast. Not bad. Yeah. Damn. That's really not bad. Let there be light. Cheated a little bit. I put some sesame on here.
It's nice with coffee.
Yeah, I know. You always have it. Make more coffee.
I don't have coffee already.
Hmm?
Everything
You can make more.
was time already. I didn't have coffee.
Well, let's try to preserve this bread. Oh, bread. How much are they charging again per loaf?
100.
Oh,
I said we just.
so this basically comes to about two bucks, $2 per loaf.
150
Hmm?
each.
Huh?
150 each.
Oh, 150 each, so $3 a loaf.
Then, for the beginner, you want to taste the bread and then you get discount.
So you're still talking $3 a loaf. But this is, as fresh as you're going to get out of a private person's oven. And they won't make this bread. They won't make it until they definitely have some orders. That's the only way to do it. They're not going to waste their time. But I kind of wonder what it cost them to make this, considering that.
If they get a lot orders.
Yeah, I mean, are they making this from scratch? Are they making this from flour and they're making their own bread? They're making the bread flour and all that? Is that what they're doing? Yeah.
Because we deliver for the restaurant also.
Oh, and they deliver
Okay.
for restaurants too. Yeah. I just see where they can make their money from that. Well, the resorts and stuff like that they have out here.
I know that place near in landlord before house.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Okay, I better restrict myself. I remember growing up, we always had a bread box. But did not ever keep the roaches out, though. I would never eat bread if I knew roaches got to it, but yeah, it was common to have, I don't know if they still do, people still do that, they have, we call a bread box. I don't know what the deal is. You're not supposed to put it in the refrigerator because it gets hard, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you preserve this for several days?
I put in the Tupperware and then
Put in the Tupperware.
Yeah, down for the refrigerator.
In the bottom of the refrigerator,
Yeah.
where the
Then
vegetable
after when we
section
eat
is,
that
yeah.
one, so we just put it up.
Oh, I'm not fat, Hector. I could lose 2 inches in my belly, though. This certainly ain't gonna help, I can tell you that.
This one wrapper, and the other one.
Yeah. We're gonna eat all that bread? I don't wanna eat all that bread. We will get fat. See how huge these loaves were, man?
We don't have a Tupperware for bread. So that's why.
You have nothing that will fit in?
No.
Oh,
Only one.
only one. Well, we got the gallon size freezer bags.
This is not enough. I tried. No.
You tell me that's not gonna fit in the gallon
No,
size?
No.
Well,
They cannot fit like this. I tried.
I mean the width. It says to keep it in the dark. Keep it in the dark, Hector said. Okay. Oh my last. That's what she does, coffee and the bread. That's No. A lot of Filipinos do that. Oh. Okay. You know, I like, the sliced bread that they sell out here, and I try not to eat too much bread, but the sliced bread that they have out here is terrible. I mean, it's just not enjoyable. You know, if you're going to have a peanut butter sandwich, you're going to have some bread or something. And the bread is really
I
horrible.
make coffee.
Huh?
I make
Oh, now you're going to make the coffee now. You decided, since you got that bread. Oh, the instant kind? We got a regular.
No, the other one is the
good?
oh yeah, your coffee without anything.
Oh, well, yeah, I can understand she want to have coffee with that. I know she used to do that all the time, well before I ever met her. But I used to be talking to her, from America. And where she used to live, there was a bakery, right? Her place was down below the road. And they used to have a bakery at the roadside. So every morning she'd go there and have her coffee and bread. I said, "That's what you're eating for breakfast? Really?" Well, it's pretty well practiced around here, I can tell you that.
Because the other side is hard.
It's my last. I don't know. Probably have to go to the store today anyway. What do we have to do? I'll say a holiday in America. Let me see. Did the government shit out another check for me today early, or did they not? I got a site I go on my Skype to go to my bank account, But it's always telling me, well, my identification, being regarded as spam. I get that a lot. I have to take care of that, I guess. That it's going through as spam. All I gotta do is go to the damn machine, the ATM. I don't know whether money's in the bank or not. Said I don't keep money around the house here, really. Just a few pesos here and there if I gotta go downtown, but I use my debit card and I take care of it with that. But I don't really, it's not really safe out here actually to keep a lot of money in the house. It's certainly not suggested. I've been ripped off once, not where I live now, but another place. But yeah, I don't, I don't suggest that you carry a lot of valuables and if you're living out here in the Philippines. Oh man, it's really overcast. Why is it always magnified? See the sky here. Oh, I like baguette bread, yeah. Hold on. I love that. Oh, there we go. I have to repaint these walls inside here, I'm afraid. Gonna have to probably do that. The walls in front of the house, we get a lot of cat paw marks on there from the cats. And these white walls, I mean, geez. Well, we got a safe, but it's broke. Well, I don't know the combination of it. It kind of came with the house, but wall here, it's all white. And if I really had to take it close to it, you see cat paw marks on here. They're always climbing up. It's a real hassle because I try to upkeep the place all the time, So I'm always retouching. I'll show you the paw marks, cat marks right here. They're chasing lizards and stuff like that. Then, of course, the steel on here rusts too. You'll get some yellowing from the steel. I can't, from the railing on here, so I can't really deal with that, Yeah, I'll show you from a distance here. got a field there, and they use this field for, they got goats, and they got some cows out here too. See, it's all greening up now. If you've seen this place not to go, it was dry as a freaking desert. Here's the house from one end to the other. Up, starting to shower. Look at these clouds. Okay, begins down there and ends down this way. It's starting to shower. You see right there? That's my SpaceX satellite. Oh, starting to come down. Which I don't mind, because of the drought that we had for about 4 months. Everything is greening up out here very nicely. And, in fact, we had a cow, we don't have, died. Kind of showed it on camera once. They wouldn't get any water from anywhere. People wouldn't even care that we're raising these cows. It died probably of nutrition because there's nothing to eat. It was bare ground. It went down to that. It was just brown down to the earth. That was it. Eat a sort of food. What was it? Oh, looks like the ants found some kind of dead spider. They got the spider on the wall. Mother Nature speaks loudly. How much peck? No, it's not in Manila. It's outside the Cebu area. Here we go. Oh yeah, Mother Nature going wild, and ants rule. Then I always get paint the outside of the house too. It's painted yellow, right? Kind of a cream. It's actually a cream color. And, there's marks on there. There's, it's, when you got a house, it's a fairly good sized house. It requires my God, a whole lot of maintenance. It really does. Starting to shower now. I probably still don't have to go to the store yet, but, okay. I think I can shut well, hell, I got a fan on, plus an air conditioned room. It's not that hot out. Jesus Christmas. Boy, am I spoiled. Okay. Now I can sit here in my living room. Dogs are all relaxed in here. That's Ginger, and that's Sal. They're my 2 girls. And they consider this living room as their den. That's where they want to be. They want to be in the den. This is where family gathers, and this is where they gather. They love going under this round kind of a coffee table. That's their spot. Whoever gets it first. Of course, they're going through heat, and a lot of times this one here will go behind the chair or something, because she's always had these, what they call pseudo-pregnancies, false pregnancies. A lot of dogs never been spayed, they go through their period, and they really think that they're pregnant. They lactate everything. They form milk, and she goes through that almost every cycle. Oh, I said, shit, we're going to go through this again. Gosh, thank goodness it's not monthly like women. But yeah, they go through these cycles. I'm not kidding you. They produce milk. I don't think it's the healthiest thing. They could always get mammary tumors, but it's rare, but it does happen. I've had dogs since I was a kid. The first one, we called him Pudgy. In my constitution, Pudgy nipped me once, and I actually nipped Pudgy back. I'm not kidding. Goes to show you. Yeah. But unfortunately, we had to get rid of him because what they call superintendents of the building, this lady, Loretta Joyce, I'll tell you a story on that one, but before I go here. But, she complained because she and my mother didn't get along, so she had to complain to Mr. Kirshner, who was kind of, lived up the block and was kind of supervisor of this building. And they're telling us we had to get rid of the dog, and that created a lot of tension. My uncle wind up taking in the dog, and he just kept it in a goddamn truck yard or something. That really sucked. Later I heard he probably got hit by a car or something, but ever since then, I've had dogs all my growing life, even up till now. You know, my best friend dog was two of them. Really, was Misty. I had Misty and Maggie over in the Seattle area. They lived with each other for a year, 2 years, whatever it was. I Misty developed some problem and she had to be put down. Beautiful white dog. She had lab and shepherd. She was part white shepherd and lab. Beautiful fur. Anybody saw me walking down the street. You know, beautiful dog. And I had Maggie. And Maggie, I is the one more of a more lab blood, yellow lab. I actually flew over to Hawaii, and Maggie lived with me a lot of years. Then, kind of the same thing happened with her. One day she couldn't walk on her hind legs, and she was pissing and pooping in place. And that's when I said, "Oh shit." The quality of life. And I don't know if I just was too soon to act on what I did, but it had to do with the quality of life. But hey, I had both of them, 15 and 3/4 years. Both of them lived to be 15 and 3/4 years. And Maggie was one of my favorites, along with Misty. But then I've had a dog out here that died at 3 years old, which shouldn't have, and we still don't know exactly why. Because she was fine one moment, it went off in the corner, and But I have the offspring of her, which is this one here. That's Ginger. She's one of the offsprings that we kept right here. The other one here was a rescue. Came over to our gate. It was really horrible looking, skin, everything. Would have been long dead if we didn't take it in. And I happened to be in Hawaii at the time. I got stuck there because of the, call it the bear flu that we had, I got stuck there for over a year. So dog never knew me till I came back. And of course, Ginger recognized me and she was practically pissing her pants and was very happy and licking me and just really overly excited. I'm sure you've seen those scenes on YouTube. The dog hasn't seen you for a while and they jump on you. And I came in the house. She said, "Well, Daddy's home," and she's thinking, "Oh, Daddy," because she used to wait. A lot of times we'd let her out in the yard. She'd be looking out toward the gate, hoping that I'd be coming up in a trike or something, and it wasn't me. Then when I finally came home, boy, she was excited. The other dog didn't know me for jack shit, but she warmed up to me pretty quick. I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm not a big cat person, but I don't mean I don't like cats. I only had a cat once in my life when I first moved to Seattle, but long story on that one. But I had to go back to New York for a while, and I had a friend take care of it. It was still relatively a kitten. Siamese or something. It had cross eyes. They were blue and they were cross. She very original looking. She got cross eyes. Had a friend supposed to take care of it, but he was not responsible. I told him I was coming back. I said, but I don't know. He let the cat out. The cat never came back. Didn't give a shit about it. So that was it. Yeah, dogs are definitely better than having your own kids. I can attest to that. If anybody can, I could. I can attest to that. No doubt about it. No doubt whatsoever. Don't let me go there. So I've had dogs all my life. And they are always considered family. I treat them as such. They're spoiled. They get to go in this air-conditioned room every single day. They're well fed. And sometimes I even include liquid vitamins in their food, and as we just bought recently. And they eat real good. They're like the best kept animals in the neighborhood, really. Oh, they sure are loyal. They really are. Anyway, I've been on here for quite a while, about an hour and a half now. Probably time to get off here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Just some casual talk. Nothing too exciting, really. That was the whole idea of the show. I didn't really have anything particular in mind except to talk about if you were born in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and you've seen 2 centuries and so forth and so on if you go back to the beginning of my show. you could read my little spiel or listen to my little spiel on that and realize that if you were born during that time or raised during that time, you've seen a lot of different things happen, a lot of changes from analog things into digital. I mean, everything from telephones and, color TV and blah, blah, blah. And, the best music in the world, let's just face it, the 60s and the 70s. I'm going to take a little bit of the 80s too. That's some interesting band. Depeche Mode. There were some interesting bands in the 80s. There was. But more so, the late 60s and 70s, I would say the best bands. Yeah, you bet, Hector. Hope you decided to subscribe. And just hit the notification button, when I do another show. I usually always do a show in the morning. I think I've been cooling things down a little bit here. I generally do multiple shows during the day. It's according to what's going on. I mean, I'm retired, blah, blah, blah. It's not the most exciting place in the world. I live on an island here, It's what retired people do. They retire, but not from life. They just, maybe not as active as they used to be. Or maybe there's a good reason where the weather's just too fucking hot and humid. Say, fuck this shit. Or, if you're not traveling somewhere. But there's not a whole lot to do. It's just, you're doing your chores around the house. You're going out to town to do some things, to eat out, have lunch, dinner, whatever. Pick up supplies. Occasionally you go to the big city, which is Cebu City. You go to the nice malls. You buy the things that you can't get here, which is about everything. It's about everything. Buy your imported foods from America, which is what I do all the time. I stock up on that shit. It's what you do. Then if you get in the mood for traveling somewhere, wherever you go, decide to go. And that's always a hard choice to make because the Philippines does vary geographically. We got mountains too. There are beautiful places out here, but you have to make a decision. Number one, why am I going there? So I could just share, say, look, I went over here today, went to Sikio or whatever, or, Baguio, whatever. I mean, it's like, it's a lot of the same. It's the best I can explain it here. The geography, topography, whatever you want to call it, it's just, I don't know, it varies a bit. And there's some really extraordinarily beautiful areas, but like anywhere else, some of the best places to go take more transportation and time to get there. And you get there, and what are you experiencing? Yet another beach. I could walk to the beach here at White Sands, 12-minute walk from my house right here. So you get my point on that. And some people say, well, Frank never goes anywhere. Well, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. I don't go a lot of places. That would be the truth. It wouldn't be a lie. But there has to be a particular place that I have taken an interest in, for some reason. If I'm going to spend my time, and it just takes a long time to get from point A to point B out here, We're just now getting this airport together for commercial flights. It's supposed to be starting this month on the 5th. What they're going to charge, I don't know. There's only 2 flights a day or something, or 2 a week or something. I don't know. How are you even going to book a ticket? Because everybody and their grandmother is going to want to take a plane to Cebu or to Manila from here. Oh yeah, it's going to increase tourism like crazy out here, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. Oh, I hear the rain. That's good. I have no problem with that. Let everything green up, but then the mosquitoes come out. I've been getting bit lately. We had a drought for a long time. We never have a big mosquito problem here anyway, really. They do come out every now and again, but especially after a drought, when all of a sudden, you're getting a little rainfall here and there, then you'll see the mosquitoes start to come out. You don't even see them. I mean, I don't know, they're so small. You're getting bit, and you don't even know it. And you don't even see them biting you. I don't know, what do you call them, no-see-ums? I know there's an insect they call no-see-ums. Those are flies or something. But I think there's certain flies here that bite you too. And now, of course, out of drought system, the flies are coming back again in droves. Open the door, you'll get some flies coming in. That's for sure. If it ain't the ants, it's the flies. If ain't one thing, it's the other. There are lots of plane accidents. Well, there's actually more plane accidents in Hawaii they got these tourist planes. They're always crashing in the side of the mountain. Only kind of, when I lived in Hawaii, the only ride I used to go on for recreation was a helicopter. I went to go fly over the volcano. It had no door on it. It was great for picture taking. I enjoyed it. It didn't feel very ominous, except, you're on a basic, flying in an egg beater, really. When that motor went out, you just would drop like a rock. And that's what I didn't like about helicopters. Because, when that thing stopped running, you couldn't glide down. You just dropped like a rock. So, well, I've been on a helicopter here, from here to Cebu one time. Had offered some flights. It was supposed to be a plane at the time, small plane, that they were offering for here and there. But this company, Juan Airways, Juan, I don't know, disappeared. And so a helicopter showed up. I said, "What? Where's the plane? We're taking a helicopter?" It was really nice. I can't think of what model that was. The interior was beautiful. It could fit up to, I don't know, 12 people or something in there. Where it normally would take you to get from here to Cebu City, you'd have to take a ferry for up to an hour and a half into the next town, which is San Romeo. And then from there, you'd have to take a Grab taxi or a public bus, a Cirrus bus, CERES, which could take you up to 3 hours to get into Cebu. So, imagine, 25 minutes compared to 5 or 6 hours of traveling. I mean, that's fantastic. Yeah. Medicinal herbs. What are you talking about? Malungai? Maybe malungai. We got malungai growing in the yard here. There's no medicinal herbs out here that are legal if you're talking about marijuana. Oh, no, no, no. The one thing you don't want to be called out here is any kind of drugs. Oh, it's the worst place in the world because of our former president who did a huge campaign against drugs out here. He'd kill anybody in sight that were maybe even hinted of either using or selling drugs. The only time in history, something like, I don't know what the figure was, there were thousands, put it that way, that voluntarily turned themselves in. Because if they figured that the police knew that they were selling or using, that they would have been shot on the spot most of the time in front of your family. Yep, I'm not kidding. Oh, I'm not kidding at all. It was a bloodbath out here. And there's still people in jail waiting for their trial, and this is going back many years. And they're still waiting for trial. Can you believe that shit? Yeah. Only drugs I ever take a prescription. That's it. I don't mess around with street drugs, and I never did, really. No, I've tried marijuana, of course. I mean, Jesus, who hasn't? Somebody has to try that. It wasn't my kind of high anyway. I didn't like it. Besides, by the time I got around to ever trying that shit, it was so potent. It was so potent. I remember growing up, most kids, teens, they had just very basic, the leaves. All they had was the leaves. They were just rolling up some marijuana leaves. But then it really graduated into the best buds, and then they would, experiment and try to get plants that had the most THC in it. And, oh my God, they call them diesel, they call them, there's a whole slew of names that they used to name sometimes after the owner, the guy who actually propagated this, and we're talking about some strong shit. I'm not going to kid you. They'll knock you on your ass. If you're a newbie, a greenhorn with smoking that shit would knock you on your ass. Yeah. I don't do any alcohol at all. Not wine, not beer. I do smoke cigs, which is bad, but I'm trying to get out of that one. But I don't drink alcohol at all. None. Zero. Zilch. My lips haven't touched even a beer for 20 years. Probably more than that. Way more than that. I mean, I never used to be a big drinker. No, I go out to the clubs, that kind of shit, and have a couple of Budweisers or some shit, or a Heineken or something or whatever. But if I was like in a real spunky mood, I'd have maybe a rum and coke with it. But that was rare even back then. Nah. Besides, at my age anyway, it's going to go right to my belly. I mean, if you've seen the foreigners that I'll end it with this. If you've seen the foreigners that are living out here, Corona, yeah, I've had. If you've seen the foreigners living out here, you'd understand what I'm talking about. They're all alcoholics. Well, the greater percentage of them are. That's a blanket statement saying they're all alcoholics. They're not all, but I would say that the majority of the foreigners that come here to live, they're all alcoholics. They all are. And they all got huge stomachs. They look like they're ready to die. And they do, actually. And they pick up on the young chicks out here and all that, and kind of a second breeze in the sails, if you know what I mean, or a second wind. It's kind of like cheating your age by dating somebody that's a half a century younger than you, and that's very typical and very common out here in the Philippines. Well, I've survived so far, Hector. Hopefully I'll survive a lot longer. I'm kind of a health guru other than the smoking. That's my biggest Achilles heel. That's the thing. Oh, I still smoke. I'm not talking about a shitload of packs a day or anything like that. No, nothing like that. I only smoke them halfway down anyway after a pack or something. It's all half of it, But it's still smoking, whether you have one or whether you have 20. It's still smoking no matter what. Not good. Never said it was good, But it's good if you don't do either one of them. That's even better. But I do exercise every day. In fact, oh God. I've been procrastinating all morning here, actually. I'm going to have to hit the treadmill and not make an excuse. Or I could definitely do it later. It doesn't matter when you do it. I generally like to do the shit I do in the morning. That's what I like doing, in the morning. I get it over with, I might hit it later on in the day as a little extra, but generally always once a day, no matter what. Got to get my blood circulating. You quit cold turkey, but I guess that's the only way of doing it, really. Get rid of them and just don't look back, and you'll have to go through that. No, I've done it once before, but not for a long period of time. I was a non-smoker at one point in Hawaii. It didn't last long until my brother stressed me out or something, and I said, fuck it. I went for a whole month, and that doesn't sound like a lot. If you're a non-smoker, you probably said, oh, big fucking deal. 1 month, that's like nothing. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. It's something. 1 month. If you could do a month without doing that, you could quit, but then you'll give in psychologically or emotionally to it, If you're under some form of stress by somebody or event or something, you wind up saying, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And you go out and buy a pack and you just ruined it. You went a whole month without smoking. You just fucked it over. Yeah, I'm glad you understand that, Hector. I had a good brother, but he got involved with drugs all his life, and he just recently died in March, and he had so many things wrong with him between diabetes, hepatitis, emphysema, you name it. And he didn't want to make any changes. I mean, he didn't do drugs for, oh my God, 15 years, more than that, for 17 years, but he still drank. He quit smoking a long time ago, but he just didn't take care of himself, and one thing led to another. Diabetes led to this, led to that, led to this. So it kind of happened, Yeah. And I'm glad I learned from my brother growing up with him, because he started doing drugs around, I don't know, he's 14 years old or something like that. Fooling around to impress people. I don't know, he's trying to impress my parents who are good people. I don't understand where that even came in. He had some bad influence and needed the attention or something. I don't really know. The worst movie ever made, really. That's why I never got into that shit. Brothers, can't be telling. Yeah. They can be toxic. Yeah, well, just take care of that, man, because apparently you don't know my show. I'm very famous for talking about health matters on here, even though I do smoke. I know they think I'm quite a person of, great hypocrisy. And I guess that would be correct to a point, but I do things a little differently. I do things that are also good for my body besides something that obviously is bad. So, you know, Mr. Antioxidant and all this shit. You'd be surprised the things I do. You'd be shocked what one human does every single day to staying alive, staying alive. Don't lose a foot, homie. Yeah, really. My brother was getting in that direction with that diabetes too. He just kept up with the sugar. He didn't care. Yeah, but I don't want to talk about family on here. I promised myself I'm not going to get personal with family and shit like that. But I'm just using an example that it wasn't for him. Well, I mean, I was never that type of person to give in to that kind of shit anyway. Growing up, I was not trying to impress anybody in any way or anything. That wasn't me. I didn't hang with the wrong crowd and shit like that. Kills you much slower than being more. Oh, absolutely. And that's part of my show. I talk about obesity on here all the time. And there's a lot of YouTubers we have out here that we also know are very obese. And the damage is already done, even though they're trying to do something good for themselves now, which I commend them for doing so, of course, but whether I like them or not. But, um, they have to go all the way. Yeah, they talk about how many steps they do a day walking, but yet, they don't shut their mouth. They use shovels instead of spoons to feed themselves, and a lot of food. So I don't care how many steps you do. I don't give a shit. It's a whole big formula you got to follow. Well, that's going to save your life there, Hector. I will tell you that right off the bat. You better keep up in that direction. Okay? That's good that you do that. Proud of you. Just keep it up. And a lot of people on here, they knock me in every goddamn way they can. I've been on here a long time. I don't know if you know that, but I get attacked all the time on here. People just don't like the way you're living, and I don't know, envy, jealousy, it's just pure hatred, It's a pretty toxic community out here in the Philippines, vlogging genre. It's entirely toxic. Okay, man. It is mind over matter. It is, because I've done it before. But then I let something stress me out or something, and then you give in. It's actually easy to smoke. Easy to, if you get through the first 4 days, it's out of your system, and it's all psychological at that point. You do what you have to do. Eat a sugarless candy, whatever. And I got to start doing that shit again. I run out, I go to the store and buy a pack. It's like, I don't even think about it. It's not like I'm even trying lately. I actually reduced the amount, but I didn't throw away the pack. That's the difference. I don't know, man. I get mad at myself for that too. I get angry because, my girlfriend would like to see me around for a long time, and I'm fortunate that I haven't developed any lung disease, anything like that. So I'm really, they just say I'm very fortunate. Marvelous Mark says, you're the best at valuable information, Frank. Well, I try to be. Can't say everybody takes my advice on here, and sometimes I don't take my own advice, and I'll be straight out with it too. It's not like I don't eat any sweets at all. If something's available and I'm hungry, I'm probably going to have that cookie. I'm probably going to have that piece of cake. Just keep it away from me. Sometimes our kids come over to visit here from Cebu, and they bring some donuts over here. I'm like, oh God, man, tell them not to bring any donuts or anything here, man. Because if you're like in a mood, you're hungry, and you see these delicious donuts there, you're going to have one. Just don't have it around you. That's the best thing to do. Well, I mean, I eat fruit, but the kind of fruit I eat is, and I gotta find a new supply of blueberries, though. I buy the frozen. I have to go back to Cebu again and look for them again because I can't get them locally here. I have usually blueberries and strawberries. We do eat mangoes a lot, things like that. Don't eat much pineapple, but we do eat mangoes a lot. I buy some apples and oranges here and there, and I eat a lot of lettuce. And, I mean, I have some good vegetables I eat, some very good stuff. Life is too wonderful to take it for granted. I thank God every day. Well, I'm not religious, but thank yourself. You're doing the job, not God. Okay? But I don't want to get into that. You know, tell me how you feel about God if your child dies on you or something. You're not going to be happy with your God, are you? But don't get me started on that, because I'll just be attacked on that I'm a godless person. I am my own God. I am my own church. I'm just spiritual, but not religiously spiritual. The best I could tell you, that's my choice. But you're the odd man out these days if you're not religious in some sort. But unfortunately, one of the reasons I don't believe in organized religion is because I think most people who are really religious are the biggest hypocrites in the world, proven time and time again. Okay, guys, I got to go. We've been on for quite a while, almost 2 hours. Got to stop meeting like this. If you subscribe to my show, I appreciate that. Hit the notification button. You know when I'm on. It's about the best time to come on to find me. There's a time difference from where you folks are living, from where I'm living. If you want to know, it's about, what is it? I don't even know what time it is here. I didn't even look at the clock. I can't see it on my phone, actually. It just showed me how long I've been on the phone. But it's early to mid-morning here, somewhere around there. I haven't even looked at the damn clock. Okay, guys, take care. Be well. Be prosperous. Be happy. Remember, I'm here because you're there. Please tune in to my next show. If you don't hear me, I'm either dead or I quit. But you won't believe the second one because I've 300 times said I was quitting YouTube and got a good laughing crowd out there with that one. And I don't blame them because I've been wanting to quit for a long time. But they said that Frank is a very lonely man. Well, that's the word on Discord. I'm a very lonely man. I don't know, describe lonely to me. I got a fantastic woman. I got her family. 2 of the kids stay here. The rest, they're working or going to college, or they have professional jobs. Doing very well. No, I'm not alone. I got neighbors that are foreigners that I associate with. I have all my girlfriend's friends that a lot of them pop over here all the time. I said, no, I'm never alone. And I'm not really what you would say lonely. I admit I'm not the biggest people lover in this new society. I will totally admit that, and I always do, and I always will. I'm never going to hold back on that one. How I feel about our so-called new society, the millennials or whatever. Everybody has a label for something, apparently, But I'm just glad to be born when I was born. It was the best time in the world. Bully for me, I guess, but it was the best time in the world, man. Lonely is better than bad company. Well, that's a very good point, too. You could have a wife or partner, whatever, and still feel very lonely. I've been in relationships that I felt, it was kind of shallow, and it's worse than being lonely. It really is. To be with somebody that you're not really meshing, it's not, bad juju, all that stuff. I mean, I couldn't do that. I'd rather be alone. But no, I'm not a lonely person just because I come on YouTube a lot. It's more like a hobby. And I'm not living in the most exciting place in the world. Let's be, excuse the expression, frank about it. It's really not. And I am retired, not from life, but, I'm living in a different situation than other places I've lived. And getting around from point A to point B is a hassle. If the weather isn't too fucking hot, give you a fucking heat stroke or some shit or whatever, it gets hot here. It does get hot. We're at a little bit better time of the year right now. There's a slight change because we got a few storm systems that are moving in here and there. We got some rainfall and showers and cloudiness that's been greeting us lately because we had a drought for over 4 months. So I kind of welcome the rain. Neither one. I think they're both too old to run for office. I think Trump is a creep. If he doesn't win an election, it was rigged. He's just a crybaby. He's a spoiled billionaire crybaby is all he is. I'm not fond of Biden either because I don't think he's done much, but Trump says he hasn't done anything. But to be honest with you, I haven't really kept up with all these politics. I'm out of America, and that's the whole thing. I'm out. I don't live there anymore. As far as I'm concerned, an asteroid could hit America, and it'll be all right with me. I don't really give a shit about America. It used to be a great place growing up, I think. I was proud to wave that flag, although I wasn't really a flag waver. But it is a country of my birth, and I grew up there. So there is a little bit of allegiance to America. There actually is. But when I see what it's become, it's just become a whole different place. I can't relate with it. That's what it really is. I just can't relate to it, Evil. So in other words, if you don't, I've been through this before, so you don't believe in some kind of religion, then you're evil. Is that what it is? Man, I seen a movie last night just about that. And they were running after, they were persecuting all the religious people left on the earth. I don't know how to feel about that movie. Who is really the bad guys in these movies? The new age, the new order people with their uniforms on? All these poor, very religious people who are being shot and killed or abused or persecuted, I didn't know who to feel sorry for in this movie. To tell you the truth, it was like flip the coin, No, but I'm not religious. And that's my doing. That's my belief. I was brought up a Catholic. I did everything. I got all the certificates, whatever. But I never practiced that because I just think a lot of religious people are the biggest hypocrites in the entire world. That's why I don't believe in an organized religion. Because it's all about money and how much the church can collect and the Vatican and all that shit. It's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors. They're afraid to change the verses in the Bible. There's been new versions. They found out a lot of information changed. They won't dare admit to any fault at all. They'd kill you. Yes, the Vatican would kill you if you proved that there wasn't a Jesus or a God or something. They would kill you for it. A heretic. What are you, heretic? Oh, and they've done it before. They've done it many times. You try to sway people from believing in that religion, they'd kill you. They still do. How many religious wars have we had in history, too? But it's not my favorite topic, so I'm going to can it right here. And I got to get off anyway. If religion makes you happy, oh, Navy vet, then you'll love talking to Popeye. He's a regular. He's a big troll on YouTube here. He was in the Navy. Spent some time in the Philippines, and he kind of living in the past. He's not done anything else really worthwhile, but he bases his whole life when he was in the Navy like 45 years ago. You don't live in the past, you live in the present. That's the way I look at things. Gotta go, folks. You've been a great audience. Thank you very much. Thanks for the comeback. I got shit to do, place to go, and I'll catch you on my next show.